In today's program, some Thai hotels are deceiving foreigners with illegal room packages, health officials to track down the unvaccinated, and 1 million Moderna doses arrive in Thailand. Details on these stories and many more are coming right up. สวัสดีครับ You're watching Thailand News Today, bringing you the latest headlines in Thailand and beyond. So be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the news. And some Thai hotels are caught deceiving foreign arrivals by letting them book a room without transport or COVID testing and then trying to sell them a new package on arrival. CCSA spokesperson Apisamai Sirangsan says some hotels are deliberately only selling a room, whereas the Thailand Pass requirements stipulate that the package must include transportation from the airport to the hotel and PCR testing on arrival. The Bangkok Post reports that when unsuspecting travelers arrive, they must then purchase a new package or risk being denied entry to the kingdom. Apisamai says some hotels that have deliberately misled tourists will then refuse to refund them if they cancel their reservation and book a Thailand Pass package at another property. All arrivals must complete a Thailand Pass registration, which replaces the much criticized Certificate of Entry. The Thailand Pass requires all international arrivals to have proof of being fully vaccinated, a negative PCR test within 72 hours of travel, and $50,000 in COVID-19 insurance coverage. They must also have transportation from the airport booked through their hotel and must undergo a second PCR test organized by the hotel. Apisamai says participating hotels have been advised of all conditions pertaining to the Thailand Pass system, and foreign arrivals who have not purchased a limousine service from the airport to their hotel, as well as a second PCR test, will be denied approval to enter the country. Get vaccinated or else. That's the message from Thai health officials who have vowed to track down people who have not yet had their first dose. Dr. Kirtipoom Wongjarit from the Public Health Ministry says that while a large percentage of the population is now fully vaccinated, at least 10 million people have yet to receive a single dose of a COVID-19 vaccine. The government is pushing for the somewhat elusive goal of herd immunity, with a target of fully vaccinating 75% of the population by the end of this year. Kirtipoom says that the large number of unvaccinated people does pose a challenge and says the ministry may have to implement measures that will ban them from taking part in activities that could spread COVID. However, he adds that officials have not made any decision on whether or not to enforce the Communicable Disease Act in this regard. 1 million doses of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine donated by the United States arrived in Thailand yesterday afternoon. Michael Heath from the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok says this is the second U.S. donation of mRNA vaccines following a donation of 1.5 million Pfizer doses in July. He said this second tranche will help Thailand reach its goal of vaccinating 70% of the population by January, paving the way for the country's economic recovery. Several attempts to donate mRNA vaccines to Thailand have encountered hurdles in the past, most notably Poland's recent attempt to donate 1.5 million Moderna doses to Thammasat University Hospital and an earlier attempt by the U.S. to donate 1 million Pfizer doses. In welcoming yesterday's delivery of Moderna doses, Heath said the U.S. has also provided Thailand with tens of millions of dollars in COVID assistance, including helping to fund the development of Thailand's own vaccines. Moreover, U.S. scientist Dr. Drew Wiseman from the University of Pennsylvania is helping Chulalongkorn University with the development of Chulacov-19, Asia's first mRNA vaccine. Following the arrest of a third Cambodian refugee deported from Thailand, the UN Refugee Agency says it is dismayed by Thai authorities' move to force refugees back to the territory where they face prosecution. Earlier this month, 2 Cambodian nationals who were both registered refugees under UN protection were expelled from Thailand. This past Saturday, a 3rd refugee, who is a former commune chief, was deported by Thai authorities. According to Reuters, the 3 refugees were arrested in their home country after being deported by Thai authorities. Police say the 3 refugees, who are members of the country's disbanded opposition party, are in pre-trial detention on charges of conspiracy and incitement. The arrests come amid a political crackdown that started in the campaigns ahead of the 2018 general election. UNHCR's Assistant High Commissioner for Protection, Gillian Triggs, says the refugee agency is urging the Thai government to refrain from deporting people who are recognized as refugees under UN protection. In an interview, Human Rights Watch Asia Deputy Director Phil Robertson called it a swap mart arrangement, running roughshod over refugees' protections and rights. Officials at Thailand's embassy in Phnom Penh have declined to comment. Rail services to Bangkok's iconic Hua Lamphong station will soon be no more, much to the frustration of Bangkok commuters. According to Thailand's Transport Minister, Saksayam Chitchop, he says services to the station will initially be decreased from 118 a day to 22 before being phased out completely. No date has been confirmed for the termination of all services, but an earlier proposal has been penciled in for December the 23rd. The move has Bangkok commuters up in arms, frustrated at the increase in expenditure their daily commute will entail. According to a report, many commuters say they will now have to travel from the capital's Bang Su station by bus in order to reach workplaces in the city center. Saksayam has acknowledged their frustration and says he will hold talks with the Bangkok Mass Transit Authority about running a feeder bus service to transport people from Bang Su Station to the center of the city. The minister has also pledged to discuss discounts with the BTS SkyTrain and the Metropolitan Rapid Transit to reduce fares for people disembarking at Bang Su. Hua Lamphong Terminal is one of the several assets owned by the State Railway of Thailand that is located on prime real estate along with Thonburi Train Station, the Manam Railway Station, and the Royal City Avenue land. The SRT is expected to make 5 billion baht in revenue from the development of its assets in the first year. This is expected to increase to 10 billion baht by year 5 and 800 billion baht in around 30 years. The minister has acknowledged calls to preserve Hua Lamphong Terminal as a museum rather than sacrifice it to commercial development. However, he says SRT's significant debt means he may have to make an unpopular decision. A prominent pro-democracy activist has accused a Thai film director of assault following a cultural event in Bangkok on Sunday evening. Rakchanok Sinok, who goes by the nickname Ice, took to social media to accuse Yutalert Sipapak, who goes by the nickname Tom, of slapping her in the face and kicking her in the stomach. Rakchanok says she has filed a complaint against the director after being assaulted when she met with him to discuss personal matters. It's understood the meeting took place on a boat around 9:30 p.m. after both parties had attended an event at a Bangkok riverside venue. Rakchanok later posted on social media accusing Yutalert of slapping her across the face twice and kicking her in the stomach. The director has not responded publicly to the allegations, while most netizens have expressed support for Rakchanok, calling for her to press charges. And that wraps up our report for today. If you enjoyed it, you'll definitely love the videos that just popped up, so check them out to continue watching our other shows. Thailand News Today will be back tomorrow. Meanwhile, you're not up to date on the Thaiger.